Good morning, student. I am your Stephen sir from ICRA English Medium. Today I am going to teach you class 10th subject English, and the book which I am going to use is First Flight. Chapter number 3, Two Stories About Flying. So today I am going to give you a summary of two stories about flying. In this article, you will be reading two stories about flying. Summary, which is present in two parts. The author of the first part, titled his First Flight, is Liam O. Harty, while the author of the second part, titled Black Aeroplane, is Frederick Fawcett. In the first part, the reader comes to know about the younger bird seagull. What is bird seagull? Bird seagull means a man who is dressing up like a bird costume. He is wearing like a costume which looks like a bird. And what does he do? He jumps from the high mountains and fly like a bird. That's why his name is called as seagull. Seagull means where we can find this seagull in the sea area. The bird is very afraid to fly for the first time. It feels that its wing will not support while flying. The writer gives a beautiful narration of the story about how the bird overcomes this fear. In the second part, the writer narrates the story about a student who is returning back to England on a flight. The story describes the events that happen on the way and his narrow escape from the death with the help of a mysterious aeroplane. So I will give you this chapter in detail so that you can know it very well. So now please be careful and listen the story. The story of his first flight is based on a young seagull who is afraid to fly because of distrust on its wing. All his younger siblings can fly fearlessly despite their shorter wings. On the other hand, the young bird cannot gather the courage to trust his wings. He always becomes afraid when coming forward to the brink of the ledge and attempting to fly. His mother and father came around calling him and threatening him strive on the ledge unless he flies. Despite all the upbraiding and calling to him thrilling, he could not move. All day long he watches his parents fly with his sibling and teaching them how to skim the waves. One day the whole family flies to big plateau, and on the opposite cliff the seagull is sitting hungry. He begs his mother to bring him some food. His mother picks a piece of fish and flies across to him. Maddened by hunger, he jumped at the fish with a loud shout. He falls outward and downwards into space, and he can feel his wings cutting through the air. The next moment, he is flying fearlessly and his sibling soaring and diving with him. The narrator of the story, Black Aeroplane. So that was the first part of the story, which was I can say that bird which fears to fly. Okay, now this is the second part of the story. The narrator of the story, Black Aeroplane, is a pilot who elaborates on his misjudgment of how it create problem. So this story is about a aeroplane and a pilot. In the lesson, the pilot is flying from Paris to London and dream about the holiday with his family. He's flying over a city and thinks about the tasty breakfast after landing. After crossing Paris, he gets a look of the dark cloud. Dark cloud means काले घेरे बादल, signifying the upcoming storm. So तूफान आने वाला था. Storm means for the sake of safety he should turn back to Paris, but he decided otherwise. To fulfill his dream of a holiday, he risked the life of passengers and heads the plane into the storm. Everything gets dark and all the instruments stop working. He lost control of the plane and the hope of their survival became bleak. The very less amount of fuel in the left and the pilot starts panicking in the situation. Suddenly he see another plane flying next to him through the storm. The pilot turns his plane on to the north in order to follow the strange aeroplane. The pilot start frightening again as the fuel is getting low. Anonymous pilot guides them out of the storm and disappears. After landing, the pilot asks about the other plane but is left in shock to know that there was no other plane in the sky except his. So in this story what happens, that pilot has lost fuel while flying the aeroplane, and he has taken a risk of others people also, and he was misjudged to find a way. Then one plane comes, black color plane comes and helps him, but after landing his plane he asked, and they were saying that there was no plane. So this is mysterious. So conclusion of two stories about flying is, the first part of the story teaches us that the inner strength of the person is always helpful in overcoming difficult situation, while the second part teaches us that we should not risk the lives of others to fulfill our dream. So this was the explanation of this chapter. Thank you so much.